How can you live longer and stay healthy while you live longer?
Hey Tom Peng, love what you're doing on your channel, buddy. Super congrats. You know, giving your time and energy to nonprofit business channel. Look, man, keep driving that audience. So Tom Peng, look forward to spending some time with you. I know you got the right mindset, so I'd love for you to share some of that from the big V. God bless, be great. 10X.
If you could extend your life and stay healthy, you can do much more. But the question is, how do you do it? How can you live longer and stay healthy so that you can accomplish more in your life? Tom Peng channel normally is a business channel, right? We talk about business topics, mindset, sales, marketing. But today we're going to talk about how to extend your life. How can you live longer? I think this is an important topic because the last 2 years we've been like in a COVID lockdown. The whole world is affected, and we're becoming more health conscious. We're becoming more careful about our health. We're more concerned about our health. But how do you extend your life? How can you live longer? Because when you can live longer, you're going to have more time to accomplish the things that you want, whether it's to build a business, to build a career, or even just to spend more time with your family and friends, right? How can you live longer? And living longer by itself is still not enough because we don't want to be sick. When you're sick, living longer is actually suffering. How can you live longer? And while you're living longer, you are actually healthy and you can enjoy your life and you can use the time that you have to do great things. How can you do that? I'm going to be a little bit scientific today, and that's normally not what I do. But first of all, aging mainly has to do with cellular damage. We're talking about your DNA. Your DNA basically is in every single cell. You have trillions and trillions of cells in your body, and your DNA is like a little computer program inside your cell, and that DNA gets damaged over time. For example, if you're out in the sun has ultraviolet rays, and it damages your DNA, and then as a result you get older. And also DNA, you see pictures of DNA, it's like some kind of a strand. It looks like that. At the end of the DNA, there's something called the telomere. The telomere is the ends of the DNA. As every cell do cell division, because cells will, from one cell it will divide into two, from two cells it will divide into four, and then the older cells, they die. As the cells do their division, the DNA inside each cell, well, the telomere gets shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter until it has no more telomere, and the DNA chromosome cannot stay together anymore, so it kind of just collapses. And that's one of the reasons scientists believe that why we age and why we get old and why we die, because eventually our cells just cannot divide anymore, because the telomere at the end of the DNA chromosomes, they get shorter and shorter and shorter. We understand the mechanism of aging. We understand how people get old. But scientists also found this interesting observation. When you take a cell from, let's say, an adult, well, not human because they can't do human testing yet. You take a cell from an adult dog, for example, and then you grow it, you clone it. You take that cell, you turn it into another dog, exact identical dog. And that dog will actually live a normal life, same lifespan. Let's say if a dog lives like say 12 years, and this dog will also live to about 12 years. You can actually take an adult dog cell, adult dog's DNA, and actually clone it. This leads scientists to believe that it is possible to extend life, reverse aging, because you're taking a used DNA chromosome. You can actually clone it and make it into another animal that lives a normal lifespan. Scientists really wanted to understand the process of aging so they can help us live longer and even possibly reverse aging. So talking about cloning, long time ago, I think maybe 20 years ago, there was this, longer, maybe even 30 years ago, there was this, the first ever animal cloning experiment, Dolly the sheep. And Dolly the sheep did not live very long. And that was because our technology was not very good yet. But today, taking an animal and cloning it, they can live normal lives. And in fact, there's an actress singer called Barbra Streisand in the United States. She cloned her dogs, and her dogs are gonna live normal, happy lives, normal lifespan. So why do we get old? We talk about the telomere, but there's actually another thing. But now scientists believe that's not really the real reason, because they can break apart a chromosome and give enough time, it will actually fix itself, because our body is actually incredible. Our cells can actually repair itself. When you break apart a chromosome, let's say you stand outside in the sun, you get a lot of sunlight, you get cellular damage because of the sunlight, your body will actually try to heal itself. Your cells will try to fix the DNA. In fact, it's possible to extend the telomere and actually allow it to reproduce many, many times more. Scientists were really wondering what was really causing aging, and this is the latest theory. And the latest theory is that it has to do with something called the epigenome. The epigenome is instructions inside your DNA. So your DNA is like a computer program, right? Your DNA has the complete instructions on how to make you. The DNA knows how to make a brain cell, an eye cell, a nose cell, a mouth cell. But it is the epigenome that decides this cell is going to be an eye cell or a nose cell or a brain cell or a heart cell. It's the epigenome that decides which part of the DNA, the program it'll execute. We believe, or I should say the scientists believe, that what happens is that the epigenome gets damaged over time. So you spend a lot of time in the sun, for example, or you eat things that are not good for you, a lot of chemicals, and your cells start to break down, and your cells start to get confused. It doesn't know what kind of cell they should make anymore because the epigenome is damaged. So for example, maybe your eye cell is thinking, hey, I don't know what kind of cell I am anymore, and it starts to make skin cell. Or maybe your brain cell doesn't know what to do anymore and start to make maybe your nose cell. It is when the cells are confused, they don't know what they are anymore, and they start making cells of other type, then that's when you start to get aging. Your cells get old, your body gets old. In fact, sometimes those cells turn into cancer, they become tumorous, and then some people die from cancer. So these are things that modern science has discovered and scientists are studying, and actually how to control, even reverse aging. How do you reverse aging? Okay, I'm going to share with you some of the scientific experiments that have conducted over the last few years. And there are actually something called the longevity gene. In our cells, in our DNA, we're actually programmed to know how to fix our DNA. DNA itself knows how to heal itself. The thing that we need to do is we need to trigger that repair mechanism. And these genes are called the longevity gene. These are genes that will help you live longer. How do you trigger the longevity gene? This is what the scientists have been studying. I don't want to be too scientific here, but there are three types of longevity genes. There's something called the sirtuin, and then there's also the AMPK. It's also another longevity gene. And then there's the mTOR, MTOR. So you can Google those things, so you can look up yourself. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but these are three types of longevity genes that affect your repair process inside the body. So the scientists want to learn how to trigger those things, how to enable those things so that you can live longer and even actually take your cells, your DNA back to a younger stage so that you can really reverse your age. How do you activate the sirtuin, AMPK, and also the mTOR, the longevity genes? How can you activate them? Well, scientists have learned that there are a few things that you can do in your life that can activate these longevity genes. And they actually study them on mice and also on monkeys, and the result is really the same. One thing they found is that if they starve the mice or the monkey, they don't give them enough food, they're always just on the verge of starvation, these monkeys and mice actually live longer. Because when you are hungry, when you're starving, your longevity genes gets activated because the body knows it's in stress, so it tries to repair itself. It knows that there's possible damage coming to the cells and the genes, so it goes into the protective mode. Normally, we're in the growth and the reproduction mode. Like, we just want to grow, get fat, and fuck, and like make babies. A normal organism wants to do that, whether it's a cell, a human, or an animal. We just want to grow and fuck. But when you're hungry and starving, your longevity gene gets activated. It tries to save all the energy to repair your cells. This is when the ends of the telomeres gets longer, it gets repaired. This is when your epigenome gets repaired so that any damage in your DNA can get reversed. The other things that scientists found out is that if you expose the animal to extreme cold or extreme heat, very hot or very cold, they also activate their longevity genes. These animals tend to live longer. Have you noticed that people in the northern and southern hemisphere, they live longer? People live around the equator, they live shorter. People live in like comfortable climates, they live short. But if you look at people live in Canada, Japan, Sweden, where there's ice and cold, they live longer. Why is that? Because their body's constantly under stress, right? Their body's feeling cold, and that activates the longevity gene. And that will actually help them repair their cellular damage, and they live longer. So that's one theory. What you can do is try to expose yourself to cold or extreme hot so that you activate the longevity gene because you're under stress. The other thing that can help you activate the longevity gene is also restrict your amino acid intake. Amino acid mainly come from meat consumption, right? If you eat a lot of meat, like red meat, beef, pork, whatever, then your body will go into basically growth and fuck mode. It's true, like if I eat a lot of beef, I just want to fuck. But if you don't take in as much meat, then your longevity genes will get activated. So watch out how much meat you eat. I'm not saying don't eat meat, I'm saying control your intake, control your consumption of meat so that your body's always a little bit under stress. And of course, always avoid DNA damage. Don't sit in the sun for too long. Don't eat snack, bim bim, right? Snack, Vietnamese called bim bim, right? Because all those things are made out of a lot of chemicals and they actually damage your cells. And then when your cells are damaged, and if your cells don't actually go repair itself, then you're gonna get cancer or you're gonna age faster and you're gonna die. The other thing that you can do to activate your longevity gene is to do a lot of exercise. Go to the gym, use the exercise bike, do running, do some exercise. So that, again, when you do a lot of exercise, when you try to run a marathon, if you try to run like a lion's chasing you, then your body is gonna feel that it's under stress, and then the longevity gene, the mTOR, the MMPK, the sirtuin, they'll all kick in and try to repair cellular damage. And that's how you live longer. So again, I summarize 5 things you can do to live longer, right? So one is eat less. Don't eat so much. Reduce your food consumption so you're always a little bit hungry. And number 2 is stay hot or cold. Generally, cold is better. So always stay colder. Like go to the lab. Live there for a few days out of a month or something. Like and don't wear a sweater. Just like stress your body. So make your body feel cold. And then your longevity gene will kick in. And the third thing is also don't eat too much meat because amino acid will make your body want to grow and fuck. And that's opposite of trying to make your body live longer. And number 4 is avoid DNA damage. Don't do things that will cause cellular damage. Usually it's sunlight, usually it's chemicals. Be careful of chemicals especially because some of them are cancerous. They will cause cancer, it will cause cellular damage, DNA damage. Those are bad things. And number 5 is always push your body. Like do a lot of exercise, do long distance running, or do like very intense running, like you're running away from a lion trying to eat you, or maybe running away from your wife, I don't know, right? Just run really fast and then exert exhaustion to your body, and then your longevity gene will kick in. All right, so these are 5 things that you can do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will actually help you live longer. But I have even better news because scientists are actually studying how to trick our bodies to activate the longevity genes without actually doing these 5 things. They're trying to find out how can we trick the body to do cellular repair, to do all of those things so that we can reverse aging. And if you take an animal like the jellyfish is incredible because it can actually get younger. So when a jellyfish is born, it's actually in a phase of its life called polyp. And from the polyp, it will grow into medusa. And medusa is what we know as jellyfish. But when the jellyfish is under stress, maybe there's not enough food, or maybe it's under predation, somebody wants to eat it, then it can actually go back to polyp. And also, a jellyfish, when they lose an arm or many arms, they can actually grow it back. So they're looking at how that process works for the jellyfish, and they also believe that can also be applied to animals like humans. Scientists are actually looking at how to activate the longevity genes so that we can all live longer. Will it happen in my lifetime? I don't know, probably not, but it might happen for your lifetime. So imagine you can live to like 150 years or even 200 years, like how much you can accomplish in your life. If you can live to 200 years and you're still fucking poor, then really you have no fucking excuse, man. You have 200 years to do this and you're still fucking poor. But you don't have 200 years. What I want you to do is really value your time. Maybe you have 70 years on this earth, maybe you have 80, if you're lucky, maybe you have 90. But remember, a lot of those years, especially later in life, you're probably gonna be incapacitated, you're gonna be sick, you're gonna be tired. So you really don't have much time. Plus you have to sleep 8 hours a day. For some of you, it's like 12 hours a day. You suck. You don't have a lot of time. Time is really your most valuable resource. Before we can figure out how to extend the lifespan of human beings, make use of your time. Treasure every minute. Take fucking action, and I hope you live longer, and don't be a fucktard.